Now, friends, before we go to the next transaction, which was on March 21, we have to look at something. It says, note briefly, withdrawal of cash from bank. And listen carefully to what is being said now, friends. If the firm requires cash, it may withdraw cash from the bank. This is done by making out a check to pay itself a certain amount in cash. The bank will give cash in exchange for the check. The twofold effect and the action will be shown as follows. Alright, number one, asset of cash is increased. Therefore, we're going to debit the asset account, that is the cash column in the cash book. Remember that this is the debit side, so we're going to debit the cash column in the cash book. Number two, the asset of bank is decreased. You're going to credit the asset account, that is the bank column in the cash book. So you're going to credit. Remember that this side is the credit side, right? And this side is the bank column. So you're going to put the figure right here in that case. And there's withdrawal of cash from bank. So when this happens now, you will notice that both debit and credit entries for this item are in the same book. When this happens, it is known as a contra item. In other words, this item is where both the debit and credit entries are made in the cash book. So a contra item is where both the debit and credit entries are made in the cash book. So now we go to next transaction, March 21. Cash drawn from the bank, $250 for business use. The question is, how will that be written? We're going to have March 21. Remember that we said in this case asset of cash is what? Is increased. So when you debit the asset account, that is the cash column in the cash book. So now in this column we're going to write bank, and then we're going to write the amount of money under the cash account. So you have 350 right there. Then it also said that the asset of bank is decreased naturally. So therefore we're going to credit the bank column cash, and you write the 350 under the bank column. So that is how this is done, and then you're going to write something like this. You write a big C right there in the folder column. This represents what? Contra. So the big C represents contra. So when there's a contra item, you write the big C right there. So if you reason this out properly, you will realize that it is true, because you take out money out of the bank to put into the cash. So therefore the cash column has to increase, but it wouldn't be reasonable to write cash right here and then put in the money on the cash column. So you write bank, because you are doing two accounts, the bank column, the bank account and the cash account. So you write bank, then you place the money, the amount on the cash column, then you write cash, place money in the bank column. Our other transaction says March 24, cash drawings $220. In this case, money is being drawn out of the business, possibly for personal use. So therefore you're going to have March 24, because the cash account is being decreased, and the amount that would go under there would be 120. Alright, and this time we'll have something called drawings. March 25, paid T bearers is account of $140 by cash. $133 have we deducted $7 cash account. In this case, this is saying that we paid three T buyers his account of $140, and he gave us a $7 cash discount, so we only paid $133. So record that now, because we're going to payment side as usual. So therefore we're going to write March 25 T buyers, and the discount amount they gave us is what, $7, and we paid him by what? By cash, not by check this time. So therefore the 133 goes under the cash column in the cash book. In other cases you would see that we paid him by check, but this time we paid by what? Cash. Alright, March 29 now, we bought fixtures paying by check. Therefore the bank account will be decreased, and because we bought fixtures paying by check, we are dealing with both fixtures and the bank account. So therefore you will have March 29 fixtures, and the amount is 650. That goes under the bank column because we said paying by check. Alright, March 30, receive commission by check. This is what we received, not what we paid. Therefore we would have our debit entry on the receipt side. So there's commission by what? By check. Therefore we go under the bank column. So that's it for the cash book thus far, my friends. Thus far, we're gonna finish as it. No, we reached our last segment now. At this point now, we're going to do something called balancing off. Friends, balancing off. Alright, let's go. The first thing we do before we balance off, we're going to add up everything on both sides. And please note that we balance off the cash and the bank columns. The discount allowed columns is not balanced off. We just add them up and place a figure right there. Alright. So first thing you have to do, we're going to add up the bank column. And we're going to see how much is it. So therefore we're going to add this plus 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 this, and how much would be the total on the computer we are using it? The total right here would be 7,552. However, friends, just keep this in mind. I'll place that figure on down at the bottom right here for the time being. That figure is not, we are not going to use it. We are going to use this figure, but we are not going to place it where it's supposed to be as yet. So if you are doing an exam, all you would have to do is place that figure on somewhere for the time being. So I have decided to place it at the bottom for the time being. So that is the amount on the bank column. Now let's check the cash column now. We have 230 and we have 350, and 230 plus 350 gives you what? Gives you 580, right? It gives you 580. We're not going to write the 580 right there as yet. Reason being, because if you look at the other side of the cash book, look at both the cash column and the bank column. What is it saying? So now, we look at the bank column now. We're going to add up the bank column on the credit side of the cash book. Now we're going to add 120, 351, 468, 780, 350, and 650. The question is, what is the figure for that now? The figure for that one is what? Based on auto sum, the figure is 2,719. Alright. Let's look at the bank column as well. Based on this now, bank column is the bank column is 457, right? Well, as we all know, when we are balancing off, it simply means that both sides must be equal. I repeat, when you are balancing off, it simply means that both sides must be equal, right? Both sides must be equal. In this case, we realize that both sides are not equal. The cash amount on the debit side is more than the cash amount on the credit side, and the cash and the bank amount, the bank columns amount on the debit side is more than the bank column on the credit side, right? We'll go further into further details later on, my friends.